How would you spend your money if you were paid $40 million a year? Would you purchase a camel or a Savannah Wildcat? NBA players earn some of the highest salaries in the world. A yearly salary of more than $40 million is common for superstars like LeBron James and Steph Curry. That's why these players don't make their financial decisions like the average person. So what are the most insane ways in which NBA players have been blowing up their cash? Let's find out. But before we start, how about you please hit that like button and subscribe. Also, don't forget to turn on the notification bell. And without further ado, let's get started. 1. Scottie Pippen. The tragic tragedy involving Scottie Pippen and his plane has taught many a lesson. Scottie Pippen made the worst purchase in history when he decided to buy a private plane, which is common amongst extremely rich people. Pippen is considered a legendary figure in the world of basketball. Before he retired in 2008, he had already been named to the NBA All-Star team 7 times and had led the Chicago Bulls to 6 NBA titles during his time with the team. Because of the man's obvious skill on the court, a significant amount of money was clearly flowing into his bank account. Pippen was given a check for $82 million by the Houston Rockets after agreeing to contract with the team, and he used some of the money to purchase a private jet. The man purchased the jet without first determining whether or not it was operational. Unfortunately for him, the sale was finalised, so he was in for a rude awakening when he found out the aircraft wouldn't even power up. In the end, he was forced to spend an additional $1 million just getting the plane ready to fly. 2. Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq is the biggest Superman fan in the world. The name Shaquille O'Neal is one that any person who is familiar with basketball is familiar with. He was an NBA star and is widely known as one of the finest players in the history of the game. Before he retired from the NBA in 2011, he won 4 championships. Despite this, Shaq suffers from an addiction. Not drugs, the former player's habit stems from the fact that he was a Superman fan in the 1970s. Shaq developed a passion for DC Comics, and Superman was by far his favourite character in the series. This man is very possibly the biggest Superman fan in the world. When he signed a deal with the Orlando Magic in 1992 worth $17 million, he saw that there was no better way for him to spend his money than to collect every single item with a Superman theme that had ever been produced. Right now, we're talking about things like clothing, mirrors, cars, tattoos, and movie theatres. Ever heard of a Superman diamond ring? Well, Shaq owns one. The All-Star invests millions of dollars in a superhero that he looked up to when he was a kid to show his support for him. All of these items are located in a $20 million Superman-themed mansion in Florida. Prove me wrong if you know a larger Superman fanatic. 3. Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons enjoys wildcats, and because of this dumb purchase, the cat almost ripped open his brother. He is a basketball player from Australia who now plays for the Brooklyn Nets. Even though the 26-year-old is a brilliant athlete who is on the rise and has a chance to win the MVP award, he did not let that prevent him from making the most ludicrous purchase. Who doesn't love cats? We all consider our dogs and cats to be members of the family. Simmons, on the other hand, went a step farther. In 2016, Simmons had to vacate the studio apartment he had rented in Philadelphia. However, the new homeowner where he moved did not allow large animals of any kind. He was required to find a new pet and give away his enormous canines. So he went and did something completely crazy and got himself not 1, but 2 Savannah cats. He even admitted that this was an extremely ridiculous idea because whenever he went to pet his cats, they cried out and scared him away. These cats almost killed his sister at the airport if it were not for the security crew intervening. 4. LeBron James. LeBron James is the face of the National Basketball Association. He is also the owner of a brand worth $1 billion. He has earned the Most Valuable Player award in the NBA Finals 4 times and won the NBA Championship 4 times. Nobody else comes close to doing it as well as LeBron James, who spent the vast majority of his millions on investments rather than frittering it away on meaningless things. However, he is responsible for a mistake that cost him millions of dollars. As a result of the $85 million contract that he first signed, LeBron had an extraordinary collection of automobiles, including not one, but 3 Ferraris, a Lamborghini, and a Rolls-Royce, all of which are parked in his garage. His goal was to upgrade to the Porsche 918 Spider, which is currently the car with the fastest top speed in the world. He was confident that he had enough money to make the purchase. However, the only problem was that production of this model had already been discontinued and all of the available autos had been bought up. Because King James was so eager to get his hands on it, he ended up buying the Porsche by offering the previous owner $2.2 million for the automobile, which he had the option of purchasing it for $845,000 instead. That is more than twice as much as its initial price. 5. Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony is a big contributor to the United States Olympic team, who once played for the Los Angeles Lakers and was named the NBA All-Star 10 times. He was chosen 3rd overall in the draft in 2003, and since then he has been responsible for some pretty ridiculous deals. Seriously, this man has a track record of making peculiar acquisitions. This started in 2008, just after Anthony and the United States men's basketball team had won the bronze medal in the men's basketball competition. Naturally, he had to commemorate the occasion in some way, but rather than popping open a bottle of champagne and heading to the party, he went out and purchased a statue of himself. The fact that the statue does not resemble him in any way is a bit of a letdown, but that is not the end of it. In 2011, Anthony decided to buy a camel. As a fact, he has a camel for a pet. Shockingly, the price of a high-quality camel can reach $1 million. But why? If you thought this was absurd, wait till you see PJ Tucker's purchase. 6. PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker is interested in a lot more than just footwear, even though it is understandable that NBA players would have an interest in footwear. He is known as the Shoe King and plays center and forward for the Philadelphia 76ers. Nobody, and I mean nobody, has a larger collection of shoes than this guy has. He has a collection of around 5,000 different pairs of shoes. How is it possible to wear all these pairs of shoes? How do you ever select which one to wear? Well, PJ has a separate residence that he refers to as the Sneaker Loft, in which he stores all of his footwear collections. We are just as shocked as you are. Even his assortment of shoes does not shock us a lot, but the amount of money that he has spent to maintain them. This sneaker loft is filled with all of the Jordans and Nike sneakers you can think of, in addition to some spectacular one-of-a-kind items, such as ludicrously costly brands and shoes that everyone wants but can't buy. Interestingly, he recently spent $250,000 on a pair of diamond-encrusted Air Jordans with a customized Nike swoosh design. This is the equivalent of paying for someone else's college tuition. 7. Danny Granger. Danny Granger, a former NBA basketball player, spent 11 seasons in the league and earned a respectable amount of money, roughly $70 million during his time in the league. However, in contrast to other multimillionaires who lavishly buy cars and homes, Danny Granger counts Campbell's as one of his favourite brands. Reports claim that Granger concluded that the best way to spend his great fortune was to create an underground Batcave, like the one in the very first Batman movie, which he had seen when he was a child. Science fiction, comic novels and comic book characters were some of Granger's favourite things. Because he was such a devoted fan to stories like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings and Batman, he resolved to accomplish one thing as soon as he started to accumulate a fortune. The Batcave is located underneath Granger's house. It is very similar in that it has a covert entrance and a moving platform on which he parks his vehicles. Maybe your dreams of being a superhero will come true if you also start earning like Granger. And it's a wrap. Which of these purchases do you think was the most ridiculous and why? That's all from this video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. See you in the next video.